Welcome back to the Cinnamon Effect. I'm Kimberly Hand, and today I'm here with Karen Blaine. Hey there, and welcome to the Cinnamon Effect podcast. I'm your host, Kimberly Hand, and I'm thrilled to have you with me on this vibrant journey of discovery and growth. This podcast is your go-to space for embracing intention, where you'll find clarity on your unique path, deepen those meaningful connections, and unleash your creativity like never before. We'll explore how to build unshakable confidence and celebrate the beauty of gratitude, all while savoring the calm that consistency brings to our lives. Thank you for being with me. Let's sprinkle a little cinnamon into your day and make life sweeter, healthier, and more fulfilling. She's a retired hypnotherapist and the author of You Are Not Alone, Who Are You?, Dreamscapes, Subconsciously Speaking, and Up in the Air, which offer tools for self-discovery, resilience, and emotional well-being. We're going to talk about fostering empathy, how mantras, affirmations, and mindfulness can help us feel connected, and so much more. I'm so excited that you're here today, Karen. Thank you
I'm
so
so
much.
happy to be here.
We have, truth be told, we just had some technical difficulties, right?
Absolutely, we did. But guess what? We figured it out.
We
Yeah.
worked through it and we're all good. So,
I just wanted to tell you my last book's been out now a few weeks, and it's called The Illusion of Perfection. And it's perfectly imperfect. It talks about all of us in the different ways that we can accept how great it is to actually be imperfect instead of always striving for that perfection that is instilled in us from an early age. And it's different, but similar. All the books have themes of authenticity, resilience, those kinds of things. So
how do we break this cycle? So many women are perfectionists. Would you agree?
right. Yes.
So how do we break this cycle, this like vicious cycle of trying to make everything perfect?
Yes, that's in the book, but I can send it to you. But anyway, it's about accepting and acknowledging your feelings. Okay, I'm trying to be perfect right now. Acknowledging that and then saying, I want to be authentic. Who am I? And then just say, I'm not going to follow the prescribed patterns that have been set out for me. So the book actually goes through our parental expectations, which are heavy. Sometimes when we're growing up, we have some childhood traumas. Our parents are critical sometimes. And we have that, and we have society. And then we have just the expectations of everyone around us. And so what we have to learn is to be happy and to understand that being imperfect is the right way to be, because we're human beings. And as a human being, we're not going to be perfect. And to have empathy for ourselves, sympathy for ourselves, love for ourselves. That's the best way, that bringing it back to self-love.
I love that. How do you suggest someone taps into their authentic self? And how do you really get to the root? Like, authenticity is a big theme for me on this podcast and for myself in general. I really do try to think about being my most true version of myself, good, bad, and ugly. And I am recovering perfectionist. I will admit that. I feel like I have been working on that over time. But how do people really get back to the true authenticity of who they are?
Yeah, I think that a lot of it is kind of taking it deep within, because it's been so ingrained. That's when the subconscious comes into play. I think everyone can do their own subconscious work. I did what was called conversational hypnotherapy. So no one was put to sleep. So what you can do is, when you're doing things like the affirmations or whatever it is, mantras say, but you can actually put yourself into that position where it's almost like meditating, and you're going deeper and deeper, and you can feel yourself. You can feel yourself relaxed. And then you tell yourself, I don't have to be perfect. I am authentic. I am who I am. I accept who I am. I love who I am. And I know it sounds funny, but you say those things over and over and over again. And then you go to a party or something, right? And you're trying to be so perfect and you've got your canapes and everything's just so perfect especially for women.
Yes.
And you make a mistake. So what do? You're upset. What do we do? What we do is we go back, leave that situation for a few minutes, and then we try to reframe it. It's very important as a camera, as if we were a camera. And we go, what could I have done different? Nothing. How should I respond in the future? No way. Just by being okay with it and being okay with yourself and accepting it and learning to just say, that's okay. And more doing that is helpful in being a recovering perfectionist.
So you're catching it like in the moment of,
right.
I made a mistake. I tripped and I spilled my drink on somebody at the party, right?
Right.
And so then you're catching yourself because you want to just beat yourself up at that moment, I would imagine.
Right.
And you're catching yourself and saying, you know what? I was meant to trip. It obviously happened for a reason.
Destiny.
Yes. Like some of that stuff is just, you're late somewhere or whatever happens, right? And that was just your destiny for that moment in time. And it's okay.
Absolutely. You got it. That's what I meant.
I'm a good student.
Yeah. Yes, very good.
I really I was so interested to speak with you because I'm so, being a recovering perfectionist and being really hard on myself in the past when I have made mistakes. I am trying to do that self-work of, okay, I'm going to stop right now. I'm not going to beat myself up over this. Right? We had the technical difficulty. We could beat ourselves up that, we didn't have the right things and, but we're not going to do that. We're going to move on. There was a reason why that happened. And we're okay. We're okay moving on and moving through it.
That's exactly right.
And that's how you become more authentic.
Yes. And then when you're authentic, you're happier and more grateful. And gratitude is a huge one because how hard is it to be upset and about not being perfect if you're in gratitude?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of difficult, right? You're saying, I'm so grateful that I'm here, breathing, alive, have what I have, maybe a great family, maybe whatever it is, good friends. And so as soon as you go to gratitude, it sort of takes away the sting of something like technical difficulty.
Right. Hey, we're grateful to be talking, connecting in real time. Yes. Today, you're in California. I'm here in Florida. And I love that. I love that. What is your personal gratitude practice like? Are you writing down things that you're grateful for?
Journal it every day if you want to. What you're grateful for at the end of the week, maybe, or at the end of the day, depending on how much time you have. For me, it's so ingrained in me now that I'm always going to gratitude just because I've done it so much. Mm-hmm. So for me, I really think gratitude is one of the keys to happiness.
When you got started in this work, maybe tell us about your history of hypnotherapy and how you got started on this path and learning all that you've learned to share with everybody else. Like, I would love to know more about how you started. Yeah.
Well, my dad passed, which was hard for me. He had, it was a long cancer. So, and I was with him every day, but then he passed. And then I wrote my first books. That's when I went to hypnotherapy school. Mm. And then I wrote my first book called Subconsciously Speaking. That was my very first. And then I started to go inward and I started to realize none of it's external. It's all internal. We're all just vessels for what we have inside of us. And that is so important to understand. So anyway.
Wendy.
Oh, yeah, right. My husband's over here just doing something.
Hi, Davis. We'll say hi to Davis. Give him a shout out.
What happened was, he's right though. What happened was, as I was moving along with my hypnotherapy work, my best girlfriend committed suicide.
Oh, wow.
And that was just traumatic for me. So that's when it's like a creative just started opening up in my head. And I had to learn. I went so deep down that rabbit hole, and I read and I spoke and I listened and I tried to learn. And what I realized is that that's when I started to realize that so many people, get so caught up in things like, the perfection book that I wrote, or, the illusion of control that's in that book too. It's like nobody's controlling anything.
Yeah.
We're not in control. I mean, we try to like help out, but we're not in control. I don't believe so.
So through the
And
grief,
now, go ahead.
through the grief of losing your dad and your best friend, then you realized that if anything was in your control, you would have tried to prevent that, right? If it was at all possible. And we know it's not possible. So you really had to come to
myself up
grips.
for that one, and I realized down the road of learning, I couldn't have changed the outcome.
Yeah. Wow.
So, and that helped me to write the other books. I mean, I hate to say that, but it's true. So, the last book I wrote, I dedicated to her, put her picture in there and everything, because that's what made me write all the other books that I really do treasure. So I think she gave me a gift.
Oh, I love that. Do you feel like the subconscious, like, where did you realize that the subconscious held the answers? That everything is really inside?
I think I always knew it from the time I was 5 years old.
Wow.
I felt different than most people. I felt like I was more sensitive. I'm a highly sensitive person. And so I didn't relate, and I'm an introvert. So I didn't relate to a lot of the people in school. I just felt different. And then my parents would just, when I told them how I felt, they said, toughen up, and they didn't say, I'm here with you and what do you need, which I would have just loved. And so I went on and on feeling like there was something wrong with me. And it just got worse because I didn't understand why I was the way I was. I did think there was something wrong with me. I heard there was something wrong with me. So I was shy. All those things are just hard in this world to beat. And then I got married at 21 and had 4 kids in a row.
Wow.
And then I spent the next 20 years raising them and loving on them. And it gave me the opportunity to forget about myself. So I did. And then I took a lot of trips and stuff. And then I had to face who I was.
Wow.
And that's when it came.
And so then you realized, I've always been this sensitive. You're probably very sensitive to energy. And
yes.
Do you feel like you have any, I know there's is there 3 or 4, like clairvoyant, clairsentient, like all of those gifts?
Yeah, right. I'm what you would just call an intuitive empath.
Okay. And what does that mean? If you could define it, what does that mean?
That means that I feel, like you said, say there's a line of people at the market behind me. I can almost feel who's upset. And I almost want to make a room for them and say, excuse me, you can take over here if you're that much in a hurry. I'll think of a person who's I can feel energy, yes. And I can feel auras. And so if I'm at a party, it gets overwhelming at times. That's what I have to do, reframing.
Oh, and one more thing that I do that's very important for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you need it, but maybe some of the people who are listening will. I take a shield, an invisible shield, and I put that shield around me too, because sometimes that energy can be too much. And I can get very overwhelmed. And I never realized that I got so overwhelmed. And so now I know little tricks and things to help myself from getting that way so that I can learn, deal with everything. I can come right back, 5-10 minutes later, and I'm okay because I have reframed the situation. I have my little personal shield. I like purple, so I make mine purple. And that's what I do. Now,
I like that tip because so you just visualize kind of in wrapping yourself in this purple shield when you're
right.
going to head into, well, I mean, I would think the grocery store is very overwhelming too. There's so many different
Or
people.
a mall.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I get that. I feel that. I went to back to school night the other night, and there were so many kids and parents, and I got a little overwhelmed. And I consider myself an extrovert, but I was like, whoa, there was just like so much happening. And I was also in my own emotions of my son going back to school. And I really could feel that. Like I was overwhelmed.
Right.
I needed to build my shield around me.
Extroverts can feel the same exact way. In fact, there are highly sensitive extroverts as well. So, yeah.
I wonder, so how would you explain? I saw a documentary actually on Gaia TV about highly sensitive people, HSP.
Right.
How would you characterize that? If someone's like, oh, I didn't know if I was a highly sensitive person. I feel like you do know if you're highly sensitive, but how would you characterize that type of person?
Well, you take in other people's emotions and thoughts. Like I would care, well, in my way, but maybe it's because I go one step further into being an empath. Let me stick to highly sensitive people. Mm-hmm. I think they just react very strongly and their emotions are stronger. So they have to be very aware of that. And then if you're an empath, you feel what the other person feels or other people feel. And you almost take on their feelings. So you're more hurting for them than yourself.
Yes. Yes. And that can be, that can be a tough way to be, is to constantly be feeling what someone else is feeling. So
That's why I use those tips. Yes.
Yes. The shield. Is there anything else like for grounding or visualization that you would recommend? Because I love this. Yeah. I think this is very helpful.
The up in the air talks about a lot of those things. It's a lot of the ancient philosophers were really good, believe it or not, at the stoicism because it's talking about being centered and teaches you how to really ground yourself. And it's mostly about grounding yourself so you don't get too swayed by emotions or by the other person's, hurt. Like if someone starts to cry, I'll start to cry. Mm-hmm. And so there's also earth grounding, which may sound funny, but you go barefoot into the grass, and you're maybe even in your backyard or at the beach into the sand in Florida. That'd be great.
Oh yeah.
And and you just go barefoot and you feel it. You feel like that grounding, and it puts you. There's electrical energy. There's energy that is actually in that grounding, and it helps. That's another little tip.
I love grounding. We do live close to the beach here, and so yes, I'm always on the sand, but when I lived in Utah and it's winter 6 months out of the year, I did realize that, I didn't really have any tips for grounding. Do you have any tips for grounding if it's cold and you're in winter and you maybe cannot take your shoes off and feel the ground?
I do. Get a mat. If you have a yoga mat.
Okay.
Get out your mat. And then you can use your mat. Your mat's pretty comfortable, and you can just stand on your mat and try to feel yourself being grounded and centered. That's all you need to do. You can take it down to that simple. So you just are barefoot, not with shoes on, and you feel that connection to the earth, and you start to say, I am grounded. Then you use your affirmations as well. Mm-hmm. You say, I'm grounded. I'm very centered right now, and you allow it to happen.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. I was not doing that practice at all. I feel like I do it a lot now that I'm back in Florida, but I was not doing that at all. And I did feel disconnected. I felt disconnected with myself. And I feel like if you can stand there for a minute anywhere you are and feel grounded and take some breaths and close your eyes and feel connection, that's so important.
Yes.
So
yes.
important for all of us to do.
Absolutely. What it does is it puts us in that nice little center, that midstream place, which is where we really want to be.
Yeah.
That's why, I mean, I kind of, when I say I'm an empath or highly sensitive, I do consider it sometimes a curse, for sure. But I also consider it a blessing because I think I've helped a lot of people by being one-on-one. I'm able to give of myself when they need it. And I'll call that a gift.
I
You can
think
call that a superpower.
I was just going to say a superpower. I love that.
I think everyone has a superpower. You have a superpower.
Yes, we all do.
Curiosity's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, we all do, for sure. Why do you think it's so important for people to find their passion? And why does that give so much more meaning to life in your eyes?
It gives complete meaning to your life because you've heard the story about a guy, say, who works 50 years and he retires and is gone within a year because he doesn't feel like he has anything now to live for. So whether you're retired or whether you have, young kids or whatever you're doing in your life, it's really important to always have that purpose and meaning in your life. So it doesn't matter what form it takes. I have pages of it in one of my books, and you can do creative cooking if you like it. If you don't like cooking, you don't have to. Writing is good. If you love to sing and you're creative like that, any kind of creative arts, that's great. Artistic, painting, anything that gives you purpose and meaning. That's good. I've been branching out into other things too.
How did you find time for that? You raised 4 kids, as you mentioned.
Yes.
So were you able to find time when they were younger, or is this something that you learned kind of after the fact where you really needed that passion in your life?
I wish I had learned it and taken time for myself. I didn't really learn it till they were in college.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I wish.
I think it's important for mothers.
Go ahead.
Mothers even more so than anyone else to find a passion. I've talked about this as well. Finding a passion outside of your husband and your children is important because we are the ones that give up our bodies and we go through this crazy transformation having children. And so I think for us, it's like so much more important to get back to or maybe evolve into something new that really brings us joy. That's just for us.
Yes. We could even take a retreat. If our husbands don't care or whatever, or if you're a single mom, maybe you can get a friend or something. But you can go find what is it that you love to do? And then maybe look it up. Yeah. I mean, I wish that I was a singer before I met my husband.
Oh.
So I did do singing. I was in a garage band, and I wrote poetry and I wrote songwriting. So I had already started writing from an early age. I journaled from the time I was 5, believe it or not. I should have said, "Oh, I'm a writer," but I didn't. The clicks didn't occur because I had been kind of shut down.
Shut down because you shut down yourself, or you just felt shut down by your relationship, or
my other people in my family. I just felt like it was like, you're not good enough, so don't even bother. It was really kind of sad. I raised my kids the opposite. I hope that this can not go out. No, yeah. No, it's okay. It's okay.
When we're talking about trauma, and everyone has trauma and challenges, how do we learn through the trauma and challenges to truly love ourselves? How do we get to that place? I think a lot of people think, well, I had this happen to me and I had that happen to me, but how do we get beyond that to truly accept those challenges and traumas and truly love ourselves for who we are and our experiences.
And those are what you began when you asked me what you were talking about, the affirmations, maybe the mantras. You can do an American mantra if you want. Like you can say, I am safe, or I love myself, I accept myself. And as you do those mantras 100 times a day in the mirror, you look at yourself and you say, I love myself. I am good enough. I'm more than good enough. I am great. And you just over and over again, these sound like small things. Oh, another one that's a little bit deeper even is the mindfulness factor. So you stay mindful every time you do something, that it's okay what you're doing. So you're with your kids, right? And you're having a nice time. You're getting ice cream or something. You're mindful. This is such a great time. And I love being in this moment right now before they start fighting. Right? But it's about matter of being mindful of how you eat, how you live, what you do. So that would be good in terms of those breaking those traumas, actually, and saying they're not gonna define who I am. Absolutely not.
It's a constant every day of telling yourself those mantras and affirmations and correcting the negative self-talk in your head and
yes,
and doing that as probably in every scenario type thing where like whatever you're doing throughout the day, constantly correcting that, because I think that negative self-talk creeps in no matter what for a lot of us.
It's called negative self-looping. And what we have to do is cut it off. So by cutting it off, we say, okay, I'm negative looping. I'm going round and round in this pit, and I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go right into maybe that's when you do meditation or yoga, or you just start your affirmations. And you say, I'm not going to stay in that place. You just have to be mindful that that's not healthy for you.
What is your you are obviously a very creative person as a singer and a writer, and you've written all these books. What is your creative process like when you sit down to write a book? Does the idea sit in your head for a while? Like, I would like to know more about that process when you're culminating all of these thoughts and feelings and learnings that you had and put them into a book. What is that like for you?
So it's really strange. Okay. At like 3 a.m, I just sort of feel the crown of my head opening. It's just, and then the creative juices just flow, and it's, and then I start to write, and I just, believe it or not, I handwrite.
Okay.
And so I just remember everything. I'm writing it all down. I'm awake at 3. I'm awake. So I try to go to bed a little early, and I just try to, it takes me a couple months. Yeah, that's all, because it's every single day. And then it's like, okay, you're done. It's like,
interesting.
It comes through me.
That's so interesting. 3 a.m. too. I mean, you're up very, very early writing.
I know, right? Yeah.
So then you've written everything down, and then do you then type it out? Does somebody else type it out? Like, how does that?
Right. So I've got a lot of it in outlines, and I've got a lot of it in descriptions. And then what I'll do is have an editor edit it so that, all of everything isn't mumbo jumbo like I've had, and it makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
So
in fact, I have 2 editors, 3 sometimes. So
wow.
Just, yeah.
And on this, do you feel like the process has gotten easier as you've gone along? Like now you're on your 5th book? Is that right?
I've done 6 books.
So the process has gotten easier for you?
No.
No.
I have to have a creative thought, an idea. I have to have a title in my head and a reason for writing it. And it has to be different than the other books I've written. It has to have a different slant to it and give new ideas and new concepts, and not be anything like the other books, but it can have some similarities, like resilience is just so important, right? So that goes through some of my books, but that's how I find it. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. It's such an interesting process there. I love that.
What is your favorite, since you said about besides children, what are some of your favorite passions?
You know, I was a dancer almost my whole
Oh,
life. Yeah. And so I still, although I don't dance as often as I would like, I dance around in my house a lot. And
that's so nice.
yeah, I love so I love doing that. I love dancing. I love taking class whenever I can. I am also a big journaler, writer. I'll have ideas where I'll just kind of jot things down, and maybe it doesn't all make sense right now, but I think it will make sense. I feel like it's almost, my creativity is podcasting right now too. So
Right.
I'll have these ideas or I'll have topics that I'd like to talk about, and so I feel very creative in that.
It's
Um,
your maybe it's your superpower,
yeah, it
right?
might
Right now.
be. It might be. I was
One of them.
always very, like you said before, like very curious. And so I do
Mm-hmm.
think that's been my superpower. I was not always so extroverted and able to talk to people. I feel more like what you described, kind of quieter, introverted, and something switched in me, I would say probably my late 20s, where I felt like I don't have to, I can abandon, I don't know, the shyness was like serving me, or I felt like it was protecting me, but I feel like I'm very sensitive as well to energy. And now I know how to protect my energy more. So like if I'm going to do something like back to school night, um I didn't go in prepared with a shield around me, but after the fact, I know like I need to rest and I need to kind of recharge myself because it was draining for me. Um
Yes.
and I'm trained in feng shui, and I used to do like space clearings and house clearings for people. And I did learn about grounding through that process of like, I do need to not soak up the energy of the home that I'm in, because I would go into people's spaces and they wouldn't really tell me what was going on in their lives. But like you, I could feel that someone was about to get a divorce. I could feel that there was like turmoil in the house, and or I would notice like one little thing of like someone's picture was missing, and I would think, okay, this is, and I would just pick up on these little things where I felt like I could
That
read.
that's really that's unique. Maybe you're an empath too. You can be extroverted and be an empath. Of course.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe the highly sensitive part. I feel like I can really relate to that. And like
Yes.
when you're like that, you do have to actually as an adult, going into the grocery store has felt more daunting to me. And I think it is
Yeah.
because of all the different energies, and like you, I'm kind of feeling stories about people that are in line with me at the grocery store as well. Like I can totally
Yeah.
relate to that. Yeah. Of being like, oh, they
Wow.
seem like maybe they had a tough day, or maybe they're fighting with, their spouse, or like, I don't know. I feel like I can just pick up on certain things like that.
Right. Yeah. Do you ever want to like step in and help, or do you stop yourself?
You know, I feel like I've thought about it, but in general, I
They
kind
should.
of
Yeah.
stay back. And I
Yeah.
guess unless
Me
it
too.
was something that really needed like attention, or someone needed medical assistance, or
Right.
something like that, I feel like
Yeah.
it would be different
Same
scenario.
here. Same here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Karen, this is
Yeah.
so interesting. I'm like so interested in you, and I feel like you're such a special person. And
Oh, thank
like
you.
what you said,
As you are.
being able to help people with your gifts and your superpowers. I do want to wrap up with talking about how recognizing your unique qualities will influence your life path, and maybe how that affected you and your life path was realizing that you had all of these superpowers within you.
Right. And that's the way. So you go within, and maybe let's take someone who's not at all an introvert and not at all sensitive. Okay. Let's just take an extrovert who's not sensitive at all.
Mhm.
And maybe they're really into math and science. So what they can do is, but they don't really realize how to get there. So what they can do is start to understand that that is superpower. Or maybe they don't think it is, but that can be for them. They can start to figure out what can I do with this. I'm just thinking of somebody who's completely opposite, and it's their superpower too. Is that they can do things that I could never do, and like even technology, all of that, coding. I mean, there's so many things they can do that make them that give them their superpowers. So they can, but to find that, it's usually going within and pulling it out and understanding, this is what I'm good at. This is what I love. This is what I feel happy when I'm doing it. And those are the things that everyone should ask themselves.
Yeah. So like I always think in terms of like, what lights me up or what makes me feel alive. You know that feeling of when you feel alive. Like everyone knows that, whether that was, the birth of your child or you ran a marathon or you did something that really made you feel alive. So what is that and how do you get back to something like that?
Okay, so that is
feeling.
one of those passion things. And those are so important because it makes you feel like you've just done something great for yourself, right? And you just are so proud. My daughter just ran a marathon and she was just so proud. The look on her face, oh, it was amazing. And she qualified for Boston, so she just was all happy.
That's amazing.
And it's like, thank you. It's just a matter of finding passions that you enjoy. My granddaughter, she is a lot like me. And so as soon as that happened, like she was getting kind of achy tummies and she told her parents. And so Justin, my son, knew because of me. And so he immediately said, we're going to take care of this. And Missy, his wife, jumped right on that. And they took her horseback riding and got her a horse. And now every week she's horseback riding. She's doing shows. She's a different person. She's happier than can be. Totally a different person. It's amazing to watch.
Yeah.
And she's just, she's come alive, bloomed. Yeah.
So it's important for kids. It's important for us, for adults, for mothers, but to find that passion because it changes your whole world.
Yes, more than anything. And along with that is gratitude, right? Those two things. I put gratitude with passions because they're both keys to making us happy.
Yes. Yes. I could not agree more. I think the focus on that is so important for everyone. Is there any last thought that you'd like to leave the audience with today?
Oh, yeah. One is to just love, to try to really love. Always remember that even if you're not perfect and you haven't been, it doesn't mean you're not lovable. You are. So just love on other people. Know that you can connect like we've just connected. And it's good. You can love like that. And it's a beautiful thing. That's all.
Oh, I love that, Karen. I love that. And I love that we connected today. Thank you so much for your time. I want you to tell everybody, how can they connect with you or find your newest book?
They can go to Amazon for Karen Blaine, and all 6 books are in a row. The Illusion of Perfection is there, and I love it. But of course, I always love my latest book. Anyway, I have a website called eternalempath.com.
Okay.
So you can go to Amazon from there, or I think you can even buy it from there too. So either way.
Perfect. Yeah. Karen Blaine, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it too.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of The Cinnamon Effect. If you enjoyed our time together, don't forget to hit that follow button on your podcast app and sprinkle a little love by leaving us a 5-star rating and a quick review. Your support means the world to me. For even more goodness, check out the show notes where you'll find links to some of my favorite products. And don't forget to visit thecinnamoneffect.com to connect with me directly or to grab your TCE gratitude journal, your next step towards a more grateful life. I can't wait to spice things up with you again next time. Stay vibrant, stay inspired, and remember to add a little cinnamon to your life every day.